So I've been thinking about something for the past little while, and it's this notion that the way that we listen to music today through streaming platforms like Spotify might be affecting our taste in music. Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm Deanna Faye. I love talking about music and the psychology behind the creative process. I'm an artist and songwriter. Please take a second to like this video and subscribe to my channel. It really helps the channel out and helps other people discover my videos, and also helps you to discover more videos like this one. I grew up listening to music in a variety of ways, like CDs, the radio, tapes, vinyl records, and then later the internet. The internet, of course, shifted the way that people listen to music in a really big way. The most notable shift that the internet brought was in peer-to-peer music sharing, such as in the emergence of Napster in 1999. Although I was only a pretty young kid at the time, I had an older sibling who had showed me how to search for songs and download them and then burn them onto blank CDs. So I distinctly recall sitting in front of the TV or like listening to the radio and then just having like a handwritten list of songs that I wanted to go and then later download and put onto sort of like mixtape, CD. I have a whole envelope full, possibly 2 envelopes full, like one of those cases that holds all your burned CDs, just full of those mixtapes that I created. And it's kind of funny because looking back, it's like a time capsule. Peer-to-peer music sharing gave people access to albums and all sorts of rare alternative versions of songs. And although this was a fun time to be around for music lovers, it of course presented various ethical issues regarding copyright for artists and the producers that made the music. Even when big artists like Dr. Dre and Metallica tried to sue Napster for this, their lawsuits didn't actually shut Napster down. In fact, it actually brought more attention to the music sharing website, and in 2001, before Napster was shut down, the site had 21.4 million users, which is wild. So music sharing through Napster and other peer-to-peer music sharing sites made music available at a rate which was faster than ever possible before in history. Almost any song you could possibly think of could just be searched up and downloaded, so of course this made the act of collecting music a much quicker process. You could just search for a song or an album and have it shortly after. You no longer needed to wait to save up to buy a record. And even though the reign of Napster ended almost as quickly as it had risen, online music sharing was here to stay. It would change the way that we shared music significantly thereafter. So in 2003, Apple's iTunes Store also changed the way that people would collect music, and people could now have a paid online music collection. iTunes was offering songs for about 99 cents per song, and the business model actually worked. Today, online streaming is the most common way that people consume music, and Spotify allows people to access a vast catalog of music from little-known independent artists to major music stars. So we all know that Spotify and other music streaming platforms recommend music to its listeners based on what it thinks the user will like, based on their history, and also on what other listeners are listening to. If you listen to a song for at least 30 seconds, and then you listen to another song for at least 30 seconds after, it will actually have an effect on the algorithm, and it will assume that you like that music. So the longer you listen to a song, the more it thinks that you like that music. Of course, you can alter this by removing songs from your history, disliking music, etc. This may actually have impacts on our taste in music in both the individual and society at large. Not only that, a study done in 2019 by Jack Webster found that music streaming may not only be changing the listening habits and tastes of music listeners, but also be reinforcing class divisions in society, which, although sounds a little bit alarming, is not that surprising. This is a significant concern to note, and I believe it requires further investigation because little is actually known about the further psychological impacts this is having. I'm curious to know what further impacts this may be having, and it makes me wonder how music listening algorithms may actually be impacting individuals and society at large beyond our music taste. Not only that, but it could be impacting our creativity as songwriters and artists. So historically, a process of declassification saw cultural boundaries becoming less distinct regarding art consumption. The internet further allowed us to cross geographical and social boundaries that gives people access to a much wider array of art and music. So much more art is available than ever before in history because of the internet. However, music streaming platforms that use such metrics and algorithms to create a personalized experience may be actually creating bubbles that reinforce class divisions further. Little is actually known about the effects of this on a larger scale, but the implications could be considerable. Although I love listening to and collecting vinyl records, I admit that my go-to form of music consumption is music streaming platforms. While I don't use Spotify as my primary source, I do use YouTube and YouTube Music, which essentially uses the same sort of algorithms. Why wouldn't I? It's very convenient. And the apps, of course, already know what I like. They already know what I like to listen to. After a long day, or just when I want to listen to something on the go, have a quick pick, it's easy to just let these apps pick for me what I'll be listening to. And there's nothing wrong with that inherently, but I think that there's something to think about there and what effect this might be having on us, especially if you are a songwriter yourself. What I've noticed over time, though, is that the music that these algorithms recommend to me has actually narrowed the types of music I will listen to on a regular basis. I still like a very wide variety of genres, but what is recommended to me specifically has become quite narrow because it knows my favorite songs and sort of like it reinforces that style and doesn't really show me much beyond a specific window of genre. Basically, it reinforces what it thinks I already like, which even if that didn't have further psychological implications for myself or for society at large, it's ultimately, well, more boring. And I'm not too satisfied with the effect this has had on my music listening. And I think this is why vinyl record shopping has had such a resurgence. I think people are searching for ways to have more organic paths to discovering and listening to music. And although it's a slower approach, sometimes slower is good. It really allows you to think about and sort of process the music. Ultimately, until music streaming platforms alter the way they value artists' music, it's better for the artists too. And I'm not saying we should stop listening to music through streaming platforms, but it is something to consider, and we should think about the implications this could be having on our taste in music, our creativity, and even class divisions in society. What do you think about streaming platforms? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your opinions. And thank you so much for watching. Again, I'm Deanna Faye, artist and songwriter, and I love talking about music, so if that's something you're into, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. And I also have a Patreon where you can support me if you choose, or send me a tip through buymeacoffee.com. You can also follow me on Instagram and Twitter, where I regularly post content. And I hope you guys enjoyed this content today. I hope it gave you something to think about the next time you listen to music. Thank you so much for watching and supporting my channel, and take care.